will focus on presenting the 3 SecureGas business cases, where the SecureGas technological components will be demonstrated later on in the lifetime of the project. Those business cases have been primarily identified and discussed already at the proposal stage to be sure that they address the relevant issues and challenges in the gas sector and that they fill the existing gaps in the system. The work on the development of the business cases started in last September when the business cases were presented and discussed during with external stakeholders during a dedicated workshop that took place at the premises of Fraunhofer in Germany. And today we wanted to share with you, meaning with the consortium partners, but also with external stakeholders who are joining us right now. We wanted to share with you the latest developments and the state of the art of each business case. We will start with the presentation of the Greek business case done by DEPA. Then it will be followed by the Lithuanian case explained by Amber, and we will finish with the Italian business case presented by Annie. After presentation of each business case, we would like to give the participants and especially our stakeholders external to the consortium the opportunity to ask questions and provide feedback. So we planned a short question and answer session after presentation of each business case. So please feel free to raise any questions or comments using the comment box in the right bottom corner of your screen. You can just type your feedback or your comments. The business case owners prepared also some questions for you, and of course we would appreciate your feedback also on those questions. We will record this webinar and we will send you the recording link with the presentations and the contact details of the business case owners. In case you would like to provide your inputs also after the webinar, because obviously we are a little bit limited by time. 1 hour is not enough to discuss all relevant issues, but of course if you want to share your feedback after, you are more than welcome. So that's it from my side and the short introduction. And now I will give the floor to George from DEPA, who will present the Greek business case. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Carolina. Hello, everyone. This is George from DEPA. I will be presenting the Greek business case scenario, so just give me a second to share my screen. There we go. Hopefully everyone is able to see. Can you see the slides?
Yes, we can hear.
Okay, yes, but can you see the slides? Because I cannot hear anyone at the moment. Okay. Okay, so thank you, Carolina. Let's begin with the first business case scenario, in which we are going to present the Greek business case and how things have been developing during the late 7-month period that we didn't talk to each other amid the coronavirus issue. So just to recap a bit, we are going to present a business case driven approach on how to construct, demonstrate, and validate the SecureGas implementation framework. So, business case 1 is entitled as an operational based and technical operational level framework to cope with things that have to do with preliminary detection and response to incidents, both in cybersecurity and in safety. So, to tackle this specific issue, business case 1 scenarios were designed guide the players towards achieving some of the business case objectives as outlined in the grant agreement. The entire process was broken down to 2 pilots. So the business case 1 scenarios are broken down to DEPA scenarios, which is one partner involved in the pilots of the DC1, and EDA, which is the second pilot to be having the SecureGas implementation and testing it into their own facilities. So I cannot get into too many details due to the public nature of this webinar, so I'm just going to focus on the titles of what we're going to try. We have some safety scenarios that we're going to simulate, things about how manual sabotage can come up to cyber attacks and lead up to a physical cyber-physical scenario, as we call it. We have some scenarios with explosives and unauthorized physical access. We have strategic scenarios that involve analyzing concepts into various locations and types of implementations for various installations. And we also have some more granular approaches to the EDA scenarios where we have intrusion and manual modification of valves in various distribution networks. We have a joint scenario with DEPA concerning the explosives. And then we're going to focus on the cyber-physical attack using cybersecurity and SCADA systems to simulate attacks coming from the cyberspace. So these are briefly the titles of the scenarios that are going to be used to try and test the SecureGas solution. And these business case scenarios were designed with a main focus in mind to cope with the goals of the entire project. So the goals of the entire project were multi-layered, and that's the approach that we're trying to implement in different layers of the SecureGas implementation. So here you can see the high-level infrastructure in the architecture of the SecureGas solution, and ours is going to be tested in the business case 1 scenario. So this is a brief outline of the components per layer and how these are going to be tied to specific tasks. So we have a risk-aware layer where things are going to be distributed and disseminated to the public. We have interoperability layers from Wings and RENA to cope with the amount of data being transferred and analyze all of them to provide some input and some insights on what is going on in our facilities. And then we have the normalization layer where things are more technical, and we have the correlators, the sensors, along with the field sensors, and how we can manage all the data coming in and analyze them in order to provide them to the layers above. So I'm not going to get into too much detail because unfortunately I only have 10-15 minutes tops in total, and we're talking about less than 8 minutes from now. So I'm going to briefly describe some of these components, and then maybe it would be wiser to focus on some specific questions on each one of them instead of wasting too much time on analyzing the technical aspects. Having said that, we are creating a layered approach where the gas infrastructure is being embedded with sensors. Sensors provide us with data, and data are correlated among each other and between different data sets from different sources to create various indications of intrusion or of safety issues, and etc., etc. And all of these are being aggregated into some sort of alerts that are going to be provided given specific risk measures to relevant parties involved in these scenarios. So just a brief outline. We have a cognitive framework for the biometrics and the video analytics. Mainly this is cameras and high definition cameras, the various types of sensor cameras, together with other instruments such as accelerometers, vibrometers, door latches, and sensors that can actually measure environmental situations and create the state of the environment around our facility. The framework is designed to aggregate various types of indications from these types of sensors and create a sort of data set that can be used by the correlator and the other components to get in touch with what is happening on the infrastructure in place. So then we have the cyber physical correlator, which is basically a machine learning tool that aims to create event processing framework. Basically, it takes all the data in, it analyzes them, aggregates them, and finds patterns, and understands about potential events that are happening right now in real time on the premises of the gas infrastructure. It aggregates all the information, and from various types of heuristics and machine learning algorithms is going to discover potential anomalies or cyber threats being taking place at the facilities or in closed premises monitored by the SecureGas solution. Then another one of the components that I would like to say some stuff is the risk modeling and risk management framework. So we have a standalone tool that will support operators during decision making. So we have the events, we have potential detections, we have potential incidents. But there is another layer of analysis coming in that can provide an all hazards approach on how we can actually assess the risk of each situation being taking place right now or have taken place in the near past. Identify the situation and quantitatively evaluate it, so as to provide clear indications and metrics on how what is happening is tied with the severity of what might actually evolve to. Following probably typical concepts that you already all know from your own work. It's real-time risk assessment monitoring, and it's not completely real-time, it's near real-time by analyzing the data coming in about how to evaluate situations in terms of likelihood and impact. So we have a standalone tool that can evaluate both the likelihood, threat, vulnerability, and the impact of such detected events as presented by the sensors, the correlators, and the aggregators of each component in the SecureGas framework. All of this is being targeted to be easily disseminable and be easily distributable content through interfaces and interoperability layers that can combine the input and can disseminate the information to multiple interested parties. So, following up, the main reason that we followed such an approach is that we aim to create something that can cover all stages of an incident, both detection, identification, awareness, and possibly aid in quick response through dissemination and evaluation. So having a framework that can create a mechanism that can validate situations, provide assessments, and actually tie up what is happening with economic viability of security solutions will enable the actual user of the SecureGas solution not only to have an awareness of his own infrastructure in a more granular approach using technologies that are not yet thoroughly implemented in this specific sector, but also create a web of information dissemination that can aid in early warning capabilities and create guidelines on how to communicate with the public or with interested parties, and all of them coming from the same framework. So it's a multifaceted impact in terms of what we're trying to do here. And these are the main goals, but of course there are challenges to achieve all this. I'm just going to outline some very brief technical, organizational, and cross challenges witnessed. First of all, we have the cooperation with legacy systems. As we all know, things are deployed already everywhere, so things need to work together, and this is all not always easy. Also, we have to cope with the identification and deployability of solutions in ever-changing challenges. So even if we know threats, even if we know things can go wrong, it's not as if every time things will go wrong the same way. So detecting every possible deviation is not easy, and we're trying to find the silver lining in how to create a framework that can cope in different environments, although following the same rules and components. Now, in terms of organization, okay, we have the integration solutions and the overhead of monitoring and control, so someone needs to be able to monitor what is going out of the SecureGas framework and how we can integrate the alerts with everyday processes and organizational policies and procedures inside the entire infrastructure, which is not very difficult in terms of having something integrated inside the granular approaches of processes already in place in various infrastructures, but still it's an overhead. And we need to minimize the overhead so as to make it easy for everyone to use it without actually getting it over and above their own everyday challenges. And last but not least, we need to cope with the awareness and the dissemination of the events through possible interested parties, which may or may not involve same EU member states or even different ones. So we have national or international questions to answer in terms of how to disseminate stuff, how to combine technologies, and so on and so forth. Of course, these are not all the challenges in terms of everyday approaches, but it's an indication of what we're coping with. So we've briefly gathered some questions to you mainly. I outlined some of them here, and you can see some questions. There are 4 questions, 3 on this slide and 1 on the other one. Mainly have to do with the ICT solutions that you follow in your own organization, if they are commercial off-the-shelf solutions, or did you actually develop your own risk assessment methods and tools and approaches. And following up, if there are some functional specifications met by these approaches, such as response times and cloud solutions or local solutions, if you follow quantitative or qualitative impact assessment, if you consider impact assessment, if you deploy some things on paper, or if you use smart ICT-based solutions, or if you consider deploying solutions such as the SecureGas solution in the organization you have. If yes, and why would you do that, and why would you focus on needing the most out of the things that we just talked to you about? So this would be great for us to know, so we could actually focus on this stuff and provide thorough inputs in terms of what is actually needed by you in everyday life. Now, question 4 is a bit more tricky and has to do with residual risks. So, okay, basically having the common knowledge from everyone that the residual risks will always be here, and there's no such thing as absolute security. It's been said by Snyder since 1980. And safety, okay, the question is that we hear a lot about resilience and how we can incorporate the concept of resilience inside the safety and the security mechanisms of such infrastructures. And we would like to have your opinion on the resilience aspect. Do you follow resilience? If you have a measured resilience index, and do you plan or design to use resilience concepts in your future deployments? So thank you. I think I'm in time. I'm going to stop right here. It's 16 minutes by my counter. If you have any questions, feel free to ask, or then we can follow up on the Katerina and to the rest of the business cases. So thank you.
Thank you, George. Yes, if you have some feedback, like a direct, immediate feedback or questions about what was presented, please write it down in the chat. Or then, of course, as I said, there will be the possibility to exchange after the webinar, because I understand that the issues are quite complex and maybe sometimes it's difficult to answer in one sentence. Okay, I don't see any questions or input coming, so I think we can move on to the next business case in Lithuania. Amber, I think the floor is yours, and in the meantime, if any of you have questions, please feel free to write them in the chat. Thank you, and yes, the floor is yours. We cannot hear you very well. Can you check your microphone if it's on? No. Still nothing. Maybe try to switch on and off just to restart it.
How about now?
Yes, now it's perfect. Thanks.
Perfect. Okay. As I said, my name is Vaidotas. I'm a project manager in Ambergrid and currently responsible for the implementation of business case number 2 in our site. So at first, let me introduce our organization. Ambergrid is a gas transmission operator in Lithuania. About 2,000 kilometers of pipelines, varying from 100 to 1,200 millimeters in diameter. Design pressure of transmission system is 54 bars. There are 66 gas distribution stations, 3 gas metering stations, and 2 gas compressor stations. Approximate distance between block valve stations is about 22 kilometers. Of course, our business case could not be implemented without reliable business, science, and technological partners. So our partners are RINA from Italy, Gartime from Estonia, Elbit from Israel, RTU from Latvia, and GRC from Belgium. Here you can see Lithuania's gas transmission system map with the main objectives, and the circle one is compressor station in Jauniūnai near Vilnius. Okay, let's proceed with business case 2. It consists of 3 use cases: risk assessment of pipeline hub, methane leak detection by an unmanned aerial vehicle, and remote control deployment of valves. All 3 use cases are presented and solutions will be developed independently. However, they are all interlinked by risk assessment umbrella and altogether will contribute to safe and continuous operation of the gas network. Let's talk now a little bit about each of use cases. First, the risk assessment of a pipeline hub will be performed for 1 kilometer area around Jauniūnai gas compressor station. The second station in the territory of Lithuania, which was constructed in 2010. This study will take all hazards approach by analyzing in detail all natural hazards likely to happen in the area. For example, forest fire, extreme cold, hurricanes, also external events, technical failures, compressor failures, human errors, intentional human malicious acts on site, or cyber attacks. The methodological basis for the study will be hazard and operability hazard methodology, enriched by some elements of FMACA, failure mode, effect, and criticality study. The study will also take results from modeling customized components for quantification of consequences in terms of security supply in the whole gas network. The outcomes of risk assessment use case will also interlink with other 2 cases. The second one is the methane leak detection system by unmanned air vehicles would allow efficient and effective detection of leakages in the pipeline. This secure gas solution of early detection of leaks has twofold purpose. Would effectively prevent pipeline disruption and reduce methane release into atmosphere. The first purpose is important from operational perspective, while the second has important environmental implications as methane is considered as an aggressive greenhouse gas. It is planned that the UAV equipment with all detection, inspection, data processing and storage modules will be simulated, tested and customized on a selected section of undergrid infrastructure. And it is also worth to mention that as a part of this use case, a blockchain technology will be used for integrity assurance of data transfer between the UAV and the IT infrastructure of undergrid. The third use case is focuses on deployment of remote control valves. The result of the study in this use case should be verification of the priority list of valves that are currently being connected to SCADA and development of a priority list to those valves that are currently not connected to SCADA. This use case execution will involve the development of a multi-criteria decision tool, as many different parameters should be considered for connection of a valve to SCADA. Each parameter will be quantified on a unified scale, and then the total priority score will be obtained by applying specific weighting scheme. The second goal in this use case is to look over the possible risk scenarios where third-party activity could affect the system operations. This scenario focuses on these two aspects related to threat vectors. First, unauthorized changes to command or alarm thresholds, which could damage or shut down equipment, create some environmental impact. The second is SCADA software or configuration settings modified, or SCADA software infected with malware, which could have multiple negative effects on the system operation side. However, the implementation of this business case is not without a challenge. Our team have identified the following concerning issues. So, first of course is COVID-19. We had to delay use case 1 activities since HAZOP meetings were initially planned in late April and May. Now it's a little bit delayed, but we hope to speed the processes and to meet our goals. The main challenge in use case 2 is that the responsible partner is still missing, and a new project partner is under consideration. Hopefully we will manage to solve this issue till the end of May, and we will have a partner who will provide drones and needed equipment for use case number 2. And also there are some technological issues. Drone data requires integrity checks and solid confirmation that any manipulation has not happened during the process from drone device to analysis tools. Solution is used for scalable signing of the monitoring data directly without any delay. And time of this signing must be comparable. In case data was manipulated, then there must be a proof. And we foreseen some scenarios possible that third party manipulates the data and avoid any doubt, and media shows damages to gas grid, but managers are not getting the picture. And second, that the third party will provide its own drone images, and system does not recognize that source has changed. For example, loop images or similar technologies. So, regardless all arising challenges, I believe that the business case number 2 will be implemented successfully, and the expected outcomes would be achieved and applicable to real gas transmission system operations. Thank you for hearing me out. In case you would like to know more or you would like to share your knowledge with us, do not hesitate to contact me, and we will think out the possible ways for further cooperation. Thank you.
Much for for your presentation. Now, does anyone have immediate question or feedback to provide to the second business case? I will wait a few seconds to see if someone is typing. Okay, I don't think so, but of course there will be the possibility to contact us later, as I said.
Of course. Please send me an email or call, and we will discuss if there's any questions. We can.
Sure. I will also send all the presentations to all participants, so everyone will have your contact details. Okay, so thank you very much, and I think now we can move to the last business case. Giuseppe from Eni, the floor is yours. Thank you.
Hello. Hello, good morning. My name is Giuseppe Giunta. I'm a technical authority manager in Eni, and I'm responsible for SecureGas project and in particular for business case 3. Business case 3 is related to Eni. Because Eni is a global oil and gas company and is involved in the upstream, so it means production of gas in gas field and in oil and gas field, because gas is associated. The context that has been defined in order to address the customization, deployment, and the full-scale test of a SecureGas system in order to verify the integration of the technology component that has been developed in the SecureGas project. Business case that has been defined by Eni and with the contribution of the other partner shall be defined in North of Italy and will be met the project design requirement, technical requirement, and operating requirements. This is the scheme that we have designed in the business case 3. You can see 4 main components. The first one is third-party interference and leak detection that will be provided by using distributed fiber optic sensing and vibroacoustic technology. Vibroacoustic technology is an proprietary technology of Eni that has been developed in oil and gas. The other one is related to the patrolling, so to acquire and geo-reference of any changes, so mainly for change detection application. This will be provided by using a drone. The drone is technology related to the ADPM partner, and with a different scheme that we will be using as and demand by the operator, but also will be checked, will be verified on full scale by triggering the alarm due to the leak detection or third-party interference. The other one is to resilience of the network, in particular the main in the middle attack on the SCADA, And this will be driven by Leonardo partner, and in order to verify if the SCADA network is resilient to the cyber attack. The other one is related to the geohazard threats, in particular for landslide and flow and flooding. And this will be provided with a contribution of RINA and with the geo and the Meteoforeca system, that is another technology by INA. In the methodological task, has been defined 6 main scenarios. We have defined the third-party interference, in particular because remember there is the main issue for onshore, but also for onshore gas pipeline. I remember this because ENI is involved also in the gas transportation, not only in Europe, but we are involved with the partnership for supply gas from North Africa, and this is for us is a third party is a main issue. Then we have a second one related to the signal tempering of the acoustic system. And the third is physical identification of the event, in particular for third-party intrusion on the fence or on the system. And then the fourth is many in the middle, related to the SCADA system. The patrolling by using drones, and then the prospecting intelligence for recovery. This is mainly related to the verified resilience with the interconnection with other infrastructure, critical infrastructure, particular maybe railways or highways, energy transition system. Now you can see the site that we have defined with the partner. This is a long pipeline, 16-inch, in the north of Italy, and from Chivasso, close to Torino, on the north is Aosta. On this, we are planning to install different vibroacoustic stations in order to test the leak detection and third-party interference. Then will be used the optical cable that is available close to the pipeline. In this case, will be test the distributed acoustic sensing with the contribution of RINA. Then the patrolling by drones, and in the north of the pipeline section will be installed a meteo station in order to forecast the rainfalls, and then to study the interaction with the pipeline in order to verify the landslide movement. Okay, the aspect, the impact that we are looking. Okay, the technology validation of all the components in full-scale gas deployment scenario that has been explained before, and then to measure, to verify the KPI performance of the result. In relation to detection, localization, and sensitivity. Sensitivity related to the traits, the physical traits, and cyber traits. That has been also analyze the gap for the components, and then to analyze the design, the integration of the SecureGas system. Of course, for our point of view, is the discussion is very important to discuss with European gas grid stakeholder for a different business area in order to understand the development. The challenge is okay to test the info scale, the component, and the asset integrity management, because this is our main issue, and then improve the resilience in the interconnect gas network in Europe, and to understand, with the contribution of the stakeholder, also if SecureGas can support the energy transition in Europe by using a new concept for smart grid in gas smart grids, from midstream, from upstream, midstream, and downstream network. Okay. The question that I prepare for stakeholder is to understand if the resilience and design to cost and the energy efficiency can be support the planning of the business development. The second one is the asset integrity management to be improved. This is a general issue, is not only for Europe or for upstream operator, but it's for all. And then the SecureGas can support the energy transition challenge in Europe, because we have in the future we have to use the gas grid also for multiple fluids, multi-gas mixture. Okay, thank you very much for your attention, and okay.
Thank you, Giuseppe. Now I will ask if anyone has questions. I will wait a few seconds to see if someone is writing in the chat, either regarding the third case or any other case. Please feel free to ask questions also about other cases or project activities. We will be happy to answer. I don't see anyone typing. Okay, in this case, I think we can close the webinar. As I said, after the webinar, I will send you all the necessary documents from the webinar, including the contact details to the presenters, so you will be able to contact us directly. Big thanks again to the presenters. Thank you for attending the webinar, to all participants. And just last information before closing, we are planning to launch a third SecureGas webinar, most probably at the end of June, beginning of July, about the SecureGas extended components. But of course, you will be informed in advance, as always, and we hope you will be able to join also the third webinar. And since there are no more questions, thank you very much again, and have a nice afternoon. Bye. We stay in touch.